Okay, guys, welcome back to part 2 of the Kelsey Berreth case. So here, we're going to go over text like this. Like, for example, Patrick Frazee has beaten Kelsey Berreth to death. And he sends a text message to Krystal Kenny that says, "Get here now. You have a mess to clean up." Okay, so who is Patrick Frazee texting to? Who is he saying, to get here now, you have a mess to clean up? Well, it turns out it was a young 32-year-old nurse from the Twin Falls area in Idaho. And she is divorced. However, she is living with her ex-husband along with their 2 children. So how in the world did she get mixed up into this controversy and horror story? Supposedly, she is actually has known Patrick Frazee's family, her family, and it was what we're hearing, and his family have known each other for a very long time. And supposedly, according to Krystal's ex-husband, Krystal and Patrick Frazee had actually dated on and off as recent as right before Kelsey Berreth was killed. But I think he says they dated back when, she was in college. I don't think he was in college. I'm not positive. We can't find out anything on him right now as far as his background. But they were kind of dating back and forth. And the media is saying this is a possible love triangle. But I have to be honest with you guys. It seems like Patrick Frazee really was attracted to women who seemed to like abuse, who were kind of weak, except for Kelsey Berreth. And I think that's why he was so intimidated by Kelsey. Patrick Frazee had another relationship just right before Kelsey Berreth that was supposedly abusive. And she claims that the reason why she's in jail mostly, and, she got addicted to meth and this sort of thing, is because she felt like Patrick Frazee, give her, mess with her mind. Her relationship with Patrick Frazee was a nightmare, she says. So the girl goes on a date after her and Patrick Frazee break up, and on her second date, she smokes some meth and blames her addiction on Patrick Frazee. And now Krystal Kenny is also saying that Patrick Frazee is abusive, and she's also claiming, she was in fear for her life, and this is the reason she was involved with many murder plots. It wasn't just 1, 2, 3, it was 4, or possibly even more. And so you have a lot of people that are actually trying to say, look, she couldn't help it. She was scared to death. She had to do this. But we know otherwise. Those of us that are keeping up with the story realize that she had friends backing her up. The thing is those friends really didn't do what they could have done to prevent this from happening either. Krystal, despite the fact that she had friends telling her, look, you can come talk to some attorneys I know. You can go and call the police. She decided she would ignore, the good advice and go with helping the man that she loves plot murder. But Krystal was not the only one that was, had friends that could have did something to prevent this. Patrick Frazee did as well. And I have to say, and this is my opinion, that his friend Clint lied for him, manipulated for him, and stood by Patrick Frazee against all morals and values. Patrick Frazee also had a friend with him. They went into his bank Thanksgiving Day, and he was getting that timeline I was telling you about in the first video of his transactions at the bank, and checking out to see if he could be seen in a surveillance camera with his daughter. Patrick Frazee had a friend with him there that said some pretty suspicious, comments, and that is coming from the manager of the bank. She overheard them talking, which I may go over this one or the next video. This is not including, so how many people know about this murder? So you have several of Patrick's friends, in my opinion, that seem to know. Then for Krystal Kenny, you have Michelle Stein. You have the Rockstalls. And then you have the girl Megan. Now, all these people know something. So let's count them out. So you have a couple of Patrick's friends. You have 1, 2, 3 of at least 3 or 4. That's a lot of people, guys, that did nothing to prevent this. I think that is the most shocking part of the whole entire story for me. I don't know what was most, shocking for you. You can share below. I like reading your comments when I get time. I've been running out of time lately, but I like to see how you guys feel about it. All right, the direction of this video, we're going to kind of jump back and forth on this one. I want to cover, some of those text messages, and we're going to go over how Patrick Frazee probably approached the day that he killed the 29-year-old Kelsey Berreths. So Patrick that day had picked up their daughter. He had gone to his bank, finding out about his transactions, then went to Walmart, and we narrowed down, and pinpoint approximately the time he probably killed Kelsey. He then goes back to Kelsey Berreths' house, and that is seen on a neighbor's surveillance camera, where he then blindfolds her. First, let me start here. First, he takes the baby, puts the baby in its walker, and closes it in a room. Whether he closed the door, we don't know, but I would hope he did at least do that. Then he pulls out, some candles and tells Kelsey, we're going to do a smelling game. And he blindfolds her. And there's different versions as to how he did that. So one of those versions is that he took a sweater and wrapped it around her eyes and, tied it on. Then he lit some candles and was acting like, he wanted her to guess the flavor of the candle. He grabs a bat, and we don't know where he hit her, but I'm thinking he was so cold-hearted, he probably did it facing her. We'll find out, and the trial's coming up soon. And he beat her so hard that there was teeth all over the townhome, and there was blood spatters everywhere. And we know this because that text that I showed you earlier said when he was finished beating Kelsey Berreths to death with their child in the townhome, he says to Krystal, "You need to get here now. You have a mess to clean up." Now, the timeline as to when Krystal actually cleaned the townhome, we don't know that. I think it's not going to be Thanksgiving Day as we were, informed at the beginning of the case. But it was definitely sometime between very late Thanksgiving Day, because it's approximately 600 to 700 miles from her house to Kelsey Berreths' house. And supposedly she met Patrick at the gate, got Kelsey Berreths' key to her townhome. She took her murder cleanup kit with her and cleaned up the horrific scene. Now, one thing that she says is that she left spots. You know, she didn't clean up certain spots, which was, one of them was on a baby gate, and I think one was by the fireplace. But no matter what, she's saying, I left a few spots for police hoping they would find it. Who believes that? Not me. Just saying, that really got to me. The fact that she was, you could see her lying and manipulating. She was using that to her advantage. So she goes to Kelsey Berreths' home and she begins the cleanup. Now on the affidavit, one of them, they do say that she's cleaning up the mess on November 24th. So what did she end up having to clean up in this townhome? And what was in her kill kit, right? So in this affidavit, it says, Lee stated she couldn't come until the 24th of November. And when she did come, she brought bleach, gloves, a hairnet, shoe covers, and other supplies from Idaho. Well, some of those other supplies were like the body suits that you can wear. That's what we're finding out, I guess, later on. But like I said, things change. I've seen the affidavits change. I've seen the stories change. So, and for example, with that is, you know, where was the baby's whereabouts during the murder? And so on one affidavit, it says that the baby was in a playpen in the next room. And another one says she was in a walker. But we'll do our best. So Krystal Lee is inside the home, and she says there's blood all over the residence. And according to this source and affidavit, Lee describes, you know, that the blood is on curtains, it's on pillows, books, baby toys, stuffed animals, oven mitts, Berreths' purse, and other items. So, you know, what I also read, there was blood on some cookie cutters that were in the kitchen. And Krystal Lee explains to us in the affidavits that this took hours, up to 4 hours, to clean up the residence. And I would think something that bloody could have taken longer. Because it wasn't just in one room. I mean, you had blood that was also on the floor in the kitchen. It was on the walls, ceiling, on a television, pictures, couch, and books. And so what they said, Lee used bleach and Windex to clean the residence. She wore gloves, the hairnet, and all the booty she brought as well. She also used the shower to help clean the residence. So she's explaining all this on affidavit. And then she goes on to, you know, say, and this is what I do not believe, and as I mentioned several times, because this really, I cannot believe she has, you know, the balls to say this. She stated to investigators she could still find, you could still find Berreths' blood on the rock face around the fireplace because she was hoping investigators would find it. Okay, so let's get this straight. So she knew that she was going to, Patrick Frazee was going to kill Kelsey Berreth. She had her blood kit and everything ready. She was waiting on the phone call. This was easier for her to do, was to not clean up blood spatters. Take a phone, drive it to Gooding, Idaho, text false text messages from Kelsey Berreth. This was all easier to do versus calling the police and confiding in the attorneys that offered to supposedly help her. That was easier. That makes no sense. And as you know, and as a lot of us know, she's a liar. So she left these blood spatters supposedly because she's this great hero. She said she also left blood on the baby gate, which I've mentioned to you. And she moved that to the back bedroom. She also stated that there might be blood on the base. Okay, so might is a key here, on the base of the walls. So to me, this is probably, instead of her leaving blood for them to find, it sounds like there's some spots I missed. She's probably went over that in her head. I'm going to get caught. And that's the reality, right? I think so. What do you think? So this story really gets me angry. I cannot believe that Krystal Lee and her friends, because Megan also, according to the affidavit, knew there was something going to happen. But that is my idea of who Krystal Lee is, and it's my opinion. I can't prove it, but that's what I feel. You know, she's a manipulator and a liar. And the reason why I think this is, she lied to her ex-husband constantly with her friends. They had secret codes to lie on a constant basis. This is something she did regular. So yeah, I mean, I'm telling you guys, something is not right about that girl. I think she is off. So what happened to Kelsey's body? Because obviously it was not there. She doesn't mention that she sees Kelsey's body at all. So what the affidavit explains is Frazee originally took Berreth's body from her residence, then stored it in a black plastic tote bag with silver handles. And he stored it at Nash Ranch the 22nd of November, which seems to, correlate pretty well with what Krystal says, right? So in this affidavit, it just says that the tote bag was stored in a barn on top of a haystack, which we spoke about in the last video on that ranch. And according to Krystal's testimony, he had used a tractor to get her, pretty high up there. He later took the tote from Nash Ranch to his property later that afternoon, November 24th. So we have to say she might be telling the truth on this part where Krystal says that she really isn't there to clean up until the 24th, because she says that she was with him. So Lee went with Frazee to Nash Ranch to retrieve the body, which explains she has intimate details of what the tote bag looked like. In fact, investigators were able to review the historical cell phone records and confirm this. So she goes with Frazee to this ranch. They grab the tote bag. I don't know what her part in this is. I mean, it looks like she's just there looking pretty for the moment. He's doing all the work, right? They take the body back to the 35-acre ranch where Patrick Frazee and his mother Sheila live. And so I guess that's around 6 o'clock p.m. that evening on the 24th that it's somewhere in between there, or close to that time, that they take the body to Frazee's home. So at that point, Frazee put the black tote into the trough on his residence, along with items from Berreth's residence, including the bat that was used to kill Kelsey Berreth. And we already talked about that in the last video, but I'm sharing a different version of this affidavit. So this was the trough was actually described as a round aluminum structure that would hold approximately 100 gallons. And let me pull this video up for you real quick. This is a video of Patrick Frazee working his dogs on his ranch. And in this picture, you'll see the round troughs they're talking about.
Down, up, up, down.
You can see here, this is the troughs they're probably talking about that's on his land there, and it's in one of the cattle cages, or I don't know what you call them. And it looks like it will hold approximately even more than 100 gallons to me, but I'm pretty sure that's what they're talking about. So here it is. So Miss Lee says that Frazee wants her to take Kelsey Berreths' body back to Idaho with her when she goes back, but Lee refused. Lee never saw the body prior to being burned, but Frazee said the body was in the black tote. However, at one point, the tote had melted and there was a heap that Krystal believed to be a human body in the fire. So, what's really funny is for her to, some people claiming that they had a relationship going, but there's no pictures of the two together that I've seen. Has anybody found anything like that? Because I have not, and I've searched. So, you know, I went over this before on the last video, but I wanted to go over this again before we went over the text messages, because there are several different versions as to how this played out. So at this point, Frazee gave Lee the cell phone that belonged to Berreth at his residence. Lee disposed of all the contents of Berreth's purse and her cell phone. And according to her testimony, she says she burned the purse the same time that they burned Berreth's body. There was a base container, a pair of earrings, and Berreth's identification card. These items were all burned, with the exception of, you know, her cell phone, of course. So she had part to do with the burning. And that's not what we were told. So Lee, shortly, it's not too long after that, she leaves with Kelsey's cell phone, and she does text messages from Berreth's phone at the direction, she says, of Frazee. Frazee told her to text Berreth's employer, her mother, and his phone. So, in one of those sick messages that Krystal Lee sent, she sent it to Kelsey Berreth's mother, Cheryl. And the message said she would call her tomorrow. And what gets me the most is the fact that this woman is not behind bars, and she definitely should be behind bars. It's not right. I don't know what the police were thinking. What in the world? Why would they give her such a minor plea bargain? It's just devastating to me. Especially, you know, the fact that Lee's friend Megan told investigators, you know, too. She said Frazee had solicited Lee in the past. And that was on like October 22nd. There's also the number of October 15th. Lee told Megan Patrick had asked her to kill Berreth. This is the girl that let her use her Volkswagen to go see Patrick. All right, let's go over some of these text messages. Let's see here. So on November 22nd, and it's 3:37 a.m. So to Kelsey Berreth, I'll come down after I do chores and can go with me to Walmart and the bank so you can get a nap. Then we can figure out our plans. From Kelsey Berreth, 3:53 a.m. Okay, we're home. So that's when she gets home, like I had told you in the previous video. So to Kelsey Berreth, and that's at 3:53 a.m. Okay, thanks. From Kelsey Berreth. Call us when you wake up. And it looks like she doesn't get any response for a little while. So that's at 9:37 that she's asking him to call her when he wakes up. She's also talking to her mother about that time. From Kelsey Berreth, which is 12:41, which should be the last text she made while she was alive. And this is on Thanksgiving Day. I bought some sweet potatoes in case you wanted a sweet potato casserole. But I forgot to get pecans. So if you want some, you should get some. At that point, Kelsey Berreth is gone, but the texts continue. So November 23rd at 6:59, this is from Kelsey Berreth, but it's Patrick or either Krystal or Patrick, probably Patrick at this time, pretending to be Kelsey. And he says, call me when you guys are awake. At 7:32, Kelsey Berreth types, I'm going to go running. I'll call you guys when I get home. So this is to Kelsey. This is Patrick. Okay, be safe. So later on that afternoon, it's around 3, I think it's about 3 p.m. Patrick texts Kelsey, how's the shopping going? We're going to go trim the cake over the Lake George. And around 3:30 p.m., Kelsey supposedly says, just looking still. Not really finding anything I like. Might just shop online. So listening to what he's saying here, you can see where Cheryl's saying he does speak with fragmented sentences. It's nothing like Kelsey Berreth. All right then. So later on that evening, supposedly from Kelsey Berreth, she says, it's getting pretty late this evening. Actually, do you mind keeping the baby tonight? Sorry, I'm really tired and stressed out. Call me in the morning when you guys wake up. Patrick pauses for a bit before he responds, and he texts Kelsey back to say, sure, I don't mind. What's going on? Are you okay? Do you need anything, or can I do anything? Suddenly, this guy that's always asking Kelsey to do everything and wouldn't respond is suddenly helpful, isn't he? And supposedly, Kelsey Berreths responds back with, no, I'm fine. Just worn out. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Then finally, the last text message of 11:23 is to Kelsey Berreth. Lost my spot there, guys. Sorry. Okay, if you do, please let me know. All right, moving on to the next day, 11/24 of 2018, and this is to Kelsey Berreths. And Patrick Frazee asked her, are you awake? And from Kelsey Berreth, she says, sorry, I didn't hear my phone. Going to jump in the shower. I'll call you guys when I get out. And Patrick, types to her, says, okay. Then he sends another text that says, there's a sudden issue. There's no warning. His text says, if this is truly what you want, I'll respect your wishes and I'll give you space. Let me know if you change your mind. I'll leave you alone now. You can call me when you decide what you want to do. And then from Kelsey Berreth, she responds, call me when you guys are awake. On the next text, it's also from Kelsey Berreth, and it just has Patrick Frazee's email with the password. Now, he responds, okay, thanks. I'll look at them when I get time tonight. Kelsey says, call me when you guys are done. And he says, okay, I will do. Then suddenly another dialogue change of Kelsey asking Patrick, do you even love me? Patrick, shocked, says, why would I bend over backwards and stand behind you through everything if I didn't? So, to answer your question, yes, I do. Now, there are a lot of text messages we do not have that I cannot share with you right now. They've had, I would love to see the text messages between Patrick Frazee and Krystal. Definitely would love to see those. And I would love to see the text messages between Krystal and her friends, especially between Megan and Michelle Stein. So, yeah. But this case has so many flaws. I don't think I could cover them. If I were to sit down and talk all day today, I wouldn't be able to cover everything in this case and cover all the flaws. There is some pretty sketchy stuff going on, isn't there, guys? Between the friends, between the police, everything's just very sketchy. And you know who I feel bad for the most, and that is Cheryl. I feel bad for Kelsey Berreths' family. And they've handled it very well. So, kudos to her, because I don't think I would have handled it as well as she did. I still am dumbfounded by the fact that there were so many opportunities to save this girl's life. So many. But nobody cared. It's hard, you think, you find one person that can't do the wrong thing. Like Krystal. That's a possibility. But how the heck do you have 6 people who couldn't help this girl? That's a question we need to start asking ourselves. Are we getting this bad as human beings that we're going to start seeing these numbers increase? Now, I wanted to make a better detailed video, but I just haven't had time. There's a lot of cases coming out, and then I've got a vacation coming up, and I'm trying to get ready for that. But I'll try to do my best on the videos until things slow down, and then maybe I can get a little bit more detailed. But I do want to know what you guys think about what's going on with this case. Simply because I haven't even had time to watch any videos lately. So, anyway, so this is the end of part 2. Part 3 I'll work on, but I just don't know when. I would like to go over some of the details that we missed this video that I thought I could squeeze in, but I'm really squeezing it now to see if the cell phone can handle this much. So, all right, guys, I want to say thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it so much. And if I can talk straight, I will see you guys soon.